everyone. Today's topic is fear. I've been thinking a lot about it and about the obstacles that we put in our path, how we create our own blockages because of the fears that we hold inside ourselves. And it was prompted by my own fear, which is relating to driving. So I started driving quite late in life. It was 2 weeks before my oldest son was born, and I was told by my doctor to stop cycling. So I bit the bullet and I got in a car and it was fine. But as I carried on with the driving, I realised that I still had an obstacle I couldn't overcome, which was motorway driving. And I ended up undertaking a course of hypnotherapy to identify what what the triggers were, where the fear had come from, and to try to eliminate that panic sensation I would get if I even saw a sign heading towards a motorway, the fear that I would get, this kind of frozen feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm about to hit a motorway, and I just couldn't do it. And I had EMDR. They do this kind of, I don't know if any of you have come across it, these kind of movements, and you track the finger of the hypnotherapist. And it's surprisingly powerful, and it reduced the terror, the panic feeling that I would get on approaching a motorway. And I was able to drive on a motorway, not very far, but I could do it. And then we moved here, and I was faced with automatic cars that I'd never driven before. I'd only ever driven a manual. And driving on the right-hand side of the road. And it's now been about 9 months since we moved here. And I've had a few practices with the car, which I'm not particularly happy with yet, but I'm getting there. And I've had a few practices driving on the right. And this week, I have my first solo drive that I have to do. And I'm feeling quite apprehensive about it, a little bit scared. How's it going to go? And I won't be on my own, I'll have a child in the back. And I was thinking about what prompts me to get beyond my fears, and I'm wondering whether this is some thought that any of you have given. What is it that stops you, and what is it that helps you get beyond that fear? And I realised that for me, it's when the limitations that I impose on myself outweigh the fear. So I was starting to get fed up of not having the freedom of being able to drive, having to use public transport or walk places, or just feeling like I can't go as far. My life shrunk as a result of it. And I'd got to the point where I was like, oh, for goodness sake, this is annoying me now. I just need to deal with it. And I don't know how I'll feel come Thursday. I'll post another update to let you know how it went. But I've got to the point where I just think, I need to get back to normal. I've had enough of this now. I've got to bite the bullet and just do it. So I think for me it's kind of exasperation or frustration with myself, a desire for my world to grow again, for me to grow again, for me to have the life that I could have without these limitations. And it makes me wonder, what do we need in order to get to that point? What kind of support do we need? Is it support we need, or is it for me it was a kick up the backside, me kicking myself up the backside. But I also needed time. I needed time to get to the point where watching the roads whilst I was being driven around and thinking, yeah, I could do this. It's not too scary. Noticing how the other cars drive, what their habits are, what their patterns are. So it was something about immersion in the thing that scared me, but in a safe environment. Getting used to some of the things that I could get used to, becoming comfortable and familiar with the things that I could in a safe environment with someone else driving. So that when I start driving on my own, it's not that everything is scary. The roads themselves are no longer scary. The driving on the right is no longer scary. The car is no longer that scary. I know I can do it. And so the biggest fear now is just what's within myself, my own confidence and faith in myself, my own ability to keep myself calm. And that was something I learnt with my hypnotherapy. It was this counting backwards. I think it was counting backwards from 3, and I had this kind of calm word that I used when I was in a relaxed state. So I'd say this word and then I'd count backwards and I'd be calmer. And so there's also utilising skills that we're taught on how to calm ourselves. Anyway, I just wondered whether any of this resonated for any of you in terms of your own fears, the obstacles that you have in your lives that are created by a block of fear, and what it is that keeps that fear there, and what it is that could help you remove that fear and expand your lives so that they don't contain that fear within them anymore. So yeah, any thoughts or anything, any shared experiences or similar experiences would be welcome. It'd be good to get a conversation around this going, around fear and how to eliminate it. So I hope you all have a good day, and I will update you on how I get on Thursday. Take care, everyone.